Church family and those who are joining. As you can see, I'm in my vehicle, my normal place, and Nicholas and I are currently on our way to Baton Rouge for his follow-up. Hopefully we get some good news today and we'll be able to start staving off on medication and other things. That's what my co-pilot does while I sleep, which is probably better. I don't like to hear him screaming when I'm driving. Anyway, so I was sitting there thinking about a question someone had asked me. Someone had asked me, did I think that COVID-19 was the will of God? And I looked at him and I honestly said, if you truly believe COVID-19 is the will of God, then you don't believe in what happens on Easter. You don't believe that Jesus was resurrected, because this tells us our God is not a loving God, but vengeful and angry. And then, you know, the conversation continued, and it continued with the person stated, well, everything happens for a reason. Don't you think it's God's will that this is happening? And I was kind of like, And I had to stop and remind them that no, it's not God's will. Because if we say everything happens for a reason and we put everything on God, then we have totally nullified our own personal responsibilities. We have turned God into not a loving father, not a loving, nothing loving about him, but instead into a puppet master. And we also negate and totally let go of any personal responsibility that we may have for stuff. Because sometimes things do happen for a reason, and the reason is because you're stupid. I know that's not very nice to say, but it is. It's true. You know, in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, Yahweh places a tree in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the garden, and tells humans, you have dominion over earth. I want you to multiply. I want you to be fruitful. I want you to do all these things for me, except for one thing. And he takes a step back. Now, if you believe that God is making us do things, then God made Eve eat that fruit. God made Adam accept the fruit from Eve. And God made them leave the Garden of Eden. But that's not the case. Sin, the word sin, actually means to turn your back on and to take a different path. And if we believe that, you know, sin is, you have your two choices. You can either follow the path that God has laid out of righteousness and of making the right choices, or you can follow sin and go down a path of wrong choices to turn your back on the right path. But either way, you have to choose what path you take. God didn't create COVID-19. God created the heaven and earth and then turned them over to man. God creates opportunities out of things that happen for us to do good. I believe that. My favorite example is America's Most Wanted. John Walsh he and his wife are devastated by an awful tragedy. And instead of dwelling in that tragic moment, because it's not that God had made it happen, John was able to take that and make something beautiful out of it, to save other lives and to protect people so that others wouldn't have to go through the pain that he went through. So, no, I do not believe that our God is vengeful. You know, we have providential grace. God gives us at every turn of the way an opportunity to accept his grace, to accept his love, and to walk with him. It's just up to us if we want to take that. So the next time you say everything happens for a reason, I want you to really consider, who are you letting off the hook, and whose responsibility are you taking away? Are you saying that that person who drove, well, and I'll say this one last thing. If we're saying that everything happens for a reason and it's because God's will, then we might as well stop the social isolation. We might as well stop vaccinations, and we might as well tell doctors that they are acting against the will of God. Because if it's God's will that we die, then we're going to die. That fatalist attitude doesn't really set well in the kingdom. God gives us choices, and it's up to us to choose. God told disciples to make followers of Christ. He didn't say you have to make them, you scare them into it. Everybody did it by changing the view of who was there. So, sometimes things happen for a reason because we make the wrong choices. Sometimes things happen for a reason because we're stupid. And sometimes things happen because we're egotistical, prideful, and we don't want to take responsibility for what we did to facilitate this. Just food for thought today. So I'll give you guys an update after we're done with Nick's doctor's appointment. Wish us luck. Not really. He's been doing everything he's supposed to be doing. He hasn't skipped his medicines. He hasn't done anything. He has been in social isolation and isolation in general since January, in between hospital visits. So I trust God. And either way, I know God walks with us as we walk with him. So, talk to you guys later. Bye, church family.